What is self-awareness? How to develop self-awareness? Before we start, if you wanna learn how to manifest your real spendable cash in next staring 24 hours, click first link in the description below. Self-awareness is the ability to see yourself from outside yourself. It's the ability to be aware of another awareness, to step into that other awareness, and see yourself. It's being objective about oneself, but also, it's seeing yourself from the eyes of Source, from the eyes of Source energy. But the most important reason why self-awareness is such a good characteristic to have is that it allows you to see yourself for who you are being in your physical being, versus who you really are, as your higher self. In other words, self-awareness is really the ability to see yourself from your higher self. And how does your higher self see you? Your higher self loves you no matter what. Your higher self doesn't ever judge you. It sees you for who you really are, and keeps on encouraging you to align yourself with it. Your higher self, or inner being, same thing, knows that even if you do choose to cut yourself off from the blessings of alignment with who you really are, that you'll find your way back anyway. And it also knows the value of contrast, that whenever you experience something that you don't want, you are then more clear as to what you do want. In other words, your higher self doesn't ever worry about you. It simply guides you through your emotions in order to assist you to stay in alignment with who you really are. Benefits of self-awareness: when you are aware of yourself from this perspective, you can be very introspective and you can understand why you think the way you do. A person who is self-aware is able to see why they believe what they believe, why they act the way they act, and is open to improvement. That's the advantage. A self-aware person who, say for example, was raised in a cult religion, could see through the manipulations and brainwashing of the cult and begin to make their way out. When you are connected to Source energy, you are more powerful than millions, who are not. A self-aware person is objective, which means that they can see themselves, not just from their higher self perspective, but also from the eyes of others. What this means is that a self-aware person is more capable of compassion and empathy than most. But that can be a slippery slope, because Source would never want you to feel like you have to lower your vibration in order to help others. The best way to help anyone is to vibrate as high as you can and to hold a place of understanding and compassion for others to join you where you are, not where they are. In other words, your higher self would never want you to change who you are for anyone, ever, at all. Know thyself. The other benefit to self-awareness is that you can be more understanding of yourself. You can be kinder to yourself when you understand why you are the way you are. A person may not realize for much of their life why they act the way they do until they become self-aware. And so that is another benefit. The benefit is that self-awareness allows a person to analyze themselves in order to make improvements. When you are self-aware, you can then challenge your old belief system and change them to the ones that support you. Your guidance system: did you know that you are already being guided? And that through this guidance, you are self-aware? Think about it. When someone does something that upsets you and you feel angry, that is your guidance system telling you that you're disconnecting yourself from who you really are. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you feel like giving them the middle finger, that's your guidance system telling you that you're pinching yourself off a bit from the unconditionally loving being who you really are. Your inner being communicates with you through your feelings. And whenever something happens and you don't feel good, that means that your inner being is letting you know that whatever thought you are thinking right now is out of alignment with who you really are. That's the way it works. That's also the secret that was kept from the movie, The Secret. How to develop self-awareness: you already know how to do this because you are already aware of how you feel. But here are some basic questions that you can ask yourself in order to be more self-aware. How did my parents, my religion, if you have one, the school system, and society have an impact on who I am? How did all of this outside influence affect me, and was it for good, or not good? If I didn't have all of this influence in my life, who would I be? If I was born in another country, who would I be? If so, why? What do I really believe? Who am I without the belief programming that I received as a child? From the eyes of Source, how would I describe myself? Cognitive congruence versus cognitive dissonance. Our subconscious minds want nothing more than anything else to make sense of our world, of our reality. It strives to be congruent, which simply means that all belief systems fit together like a nice little neat puzzle. Our subconscious minds cannot stand cognitive dissonance, which is having warring beliefs within the mind at the same time. This is the real reason why it is very, very hard for someone to change their belief with even obvious evidence that they are wrong. This is also the basis for what they call religious dogma. It's also the reason why there is political dogma. One party has a set of beliefs, and they must keep those beliefs, otherwise, there will be dissonance, and they won't stand for anything then. It takes a very courageous, strong person to be able to change a belief based upon new evidence. Have you ever been super convinced that you were right about something, and a friend disagreed with you? And you thought, all I have to do is to explain the facts and they'll see my point? How did that go for you? Did you convince them? Probably not. Why? Lack of self-awareness, but mainly, cognitive congruence. New evidence provided to the subconscious mind is seen as a threat to the nice balance that the subconscious mind already has. This is why it is so hard for people to see themselves for who they really are. In the United States, this is why Republicans think that Democrats are so wrong, and why Democrats think that Republicans are likewise just as wrong. You see, self-awareness doesn't just make a difference to yourself. It can also have an impact on the whole world. Imagine if everyone was totally self-aware. It's powerful. And if everyone was more self-aware, the world might be a little nicer.